Hello children, how are you? Now I am Ekanjali. Today I will teach you history, the fourth unit, opposition to British rule in Karnataka. In this unit, you are going to learn Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, Dholia War, rebellion of Amarasulia, rebellion of Halagali Bedas, Anglo-Indian Wars, rebellion of Kittur Rani Chennamma and Sangolli Rayana, rebellion of Surapura. Now, before teaching to this, I will give you introduction of this chapter. The present Karnataka was scattered among various principalities before integration. I'll repeat. The present Karnataka was scattered among various principalities before integration. Apart from establishing political supremacy during the latter part of 18th century, the British exploited the people in agriculture and trade in order to protect their own interests. These exploitations created insecurities across Karnataka. The local kings suffered insecurities. As a result, rebellions against the British happened in most of the Karnataka. In the beginning, the zamindars and kings battled against the British individually without attaining unity among them. See, again we are talking about unity. See, whole history of India, you see, all the rulers are zamindars or rebellions. They fought individually, but they did not fought unitedly. So, here what you can learn, unity is not lacking among Indians. Now here, Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan, now we are showing the picture here, put forth a strong opposition to the British by utilizing the strengths of their Mysore kingdom. The political developments that emerged during 1761 to 1799 are very, very important. There was an important opposition mounted against the British rule in India. You are going to learn in detail. Hyder Ali, he lived in 1720, born on December 7th, 1782, was the Sultan and de facto ruler of the Kingdom of Mysore. It means like dictator, means one man rule. He declared himself the ruler of Karnataka because situation was odd. Then that time Wadaiyar was ruling, that to Wadaiyar he was very small boy. So what happened? He took the power, Hyder Ali took the power and started ruling. That is called de facto ruler of the Kingdom of Mysore in southern India. He also significantly developed Mysore's economy. Though illiterate, see here he was not at all studied, totally illiterate. Though illiterate, Hyder Ali earned an important place in the history of southern India for his administrative acumen and means example and military skills. Now, I'll come to Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan explanation. Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan were very distinguished rulers of southern India. For the expansion, consolidation and development of the Kingdom of Mysore, they created a niche for themselves. Means they created a record for themselves. Hyder Ali played a pivotal role, very, very important role in the expansion of the Mysore, while Tipu Sultan modernized the kingdom. Both also contributed, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, both also contributed to Mysore a lot. So today also we remember them. They sacrificed their life for this kingdom. Hyder Ali was a great warrior, while Tipu Sultan was a great visionary. Visionary means was analyzing, observing, taking prompt action. So that is called visionary. They vehemently fought against British colonialism and upheld the sovereignty of their kingdom. Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan remain in the history of India the towering personalities who cherished the ideals of independence, self-respect, self-rule, progress and development of the kingdom. Now let us learn the detail of the Mysore War, that is between British and Hyder Ali, British and Tipu Sultan. Now we will study under the first Anglo-Mysore War, second Anglo-Mysore War, third Anglo-Mysore War and fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Under this heading we are going to learn. The first Anglo-Mysore War, it took place between 1766 to 1769, was a conflict in India between the Sultanate of Mysore and the East India Company. The war was instigated in part by the machinations of Asaf Jah II, the Nizam of Hyderabad, who sought to divert the company's resources from attempts to gain control over northern Sarkars. Now, like this, the first Anglo-Mysore War took place, and the Marathas and Nizam of Hyderabad wanted to curb the growing power of Hyder Ali in the south. The English and French were also fighting to establish their supremacy in the south. See, war was going on between Nizam of Hyderabad and then Mysore Hyder Ali. At the same time, the foreigners, as the Britain, between French and English also, the conflict was going on. The greed for power resulted in the wars. That's the one thing. Hyder Ali was commander under Dalwai Nanjarajaya, rose to power and occupied the throne of Mysore in 1761 AD. The Marathas, the Nizam and the English formed an alliance to check the growing power of Hyder Ali. The first Anglo-Mysore War was fought between Hyder Ali and the English in 1767 AD. The first Anglo-Mysore War ended in the year 1769 AD with the Treaty of Madras. And now next, Tipu Sultan. Before Tipu Sultan, one more point I would like to say about Hyder Ali, the father of Tipu Sultan. In 1781, the British fought the second Anglo-Mysore War against Hyder Ali to check his rising power. The war ended with the Treaty of Mangalore in 1784 AD. The third Anglo-Mysore War began in 1790 AD. English attacked the Srirangapatna with the help of Marathas and the Nizam. Now, when I talk to Srirangapatna war, then we should talk definitely about Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan was the son of Hyder Ali. When Tipu Sultan was killed in the war by British, so he took the power. He declared himself the ruler of Kingdom of Mysore and a pioneer of rocket artillery. Artillery means warfare. He learnt all tactics of the warfare, that is horse riding, sword and wrestling, all he learnt. So he was a very good knowledgeable person. He was born, on 1750, 4th May 1799. He was also known as Tipu Sahib or Tiger of Mysore. They will ask you one question in the examination. That was called the Tiger of Mysore. Then you should write Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan, Tiger. So T square, like that you can think over and then make the answer easily. Now I'll switch on to the Third Anglo-Mysore War. The Third Anglo-Mysore War took place in 1790 to 1792. 3 years was a conflict in South India between the Kingdom of Mysore and the East India Company and its allies. Allies means group formed, including the Nayars of Travancore, the Maratha Empire and the Nizam of Hyderabad. 3 became allies, means friendly groups in the war. It was the third of 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. The Third Anglo-Mysore War began in 1790 AD. I explained. English attacked Srirangapatna with the help of the Marathas and the Nizam. The Third Anglo-Mysore War ended in the year 1792 with the Treaty of Srirangapatna. Tipu was defeated and humiliated. Humiliated means highly insulted. And Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, that war was a conflict in South India between the Kingdom of Mysore against the British East India Company and Hyderabad, Deccan in 1798 to 99. This was the final conflict of the 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. The British captured the capital of Mysore. The ruler of Tipu Sultan killed in the battle. And before that, Lord Wellesley tried to impose subsidiary alliance on Tipu. When he rejected the proposal, the English attacked Srirangapatna and defeated Tipu Sultan, and he was killed, in the battlefield. Mysore, next, what happened? British, they partitioned Mysore between Nizam of Hyderabad, and English also took a small part of Mysore. A part of Mysore was returned to Krishnaraja Wadiyar III, the descendant of Mysore Wadiyar dynasty. See, after the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, Mysore was divided into 3 parts. One part they gave to Nizam of Hyderabad, one part gave to the Wadiyar of Mysore, is the original ruler of Mysore, whole Mysore, and then one part British took. Like this what happened now, the war, 4 Mysore, Anglo-Mysore war ended. And see, you can see after Tipu Sultan, how the Mysore, then was divided. We are not shown division, but just you can have an idea after the death of Tipu Sultan, the condition or position of the Mysore. Now, later what happened? Anti-British upsprings in Karnataka. Anti-British means against the British. Many the Karnataka people raised. Now, Karnataka did not tamely submit the foreign rule of the British. There were British violent upsprings between 1800 to 1858. Revolt against the British rule in Karnataka included agitation in Maladera, Koppal, Bidar, Kitturu, Halagali, Surapur and Nargund. The earliest of these was of Dondia War. After the fall of Tipu, he revolted against the British in 1800 from the Bijanuru, Shikaripura region. Many former princes joined him. His revolt spread in Malnad region in the western Ghats up to Belgaum and Raichur districts. He was killed in Konagal in September 1800. Next, I'll proceed to this rebellion of Kitturu, brave Queen Chennamma. She lived in the year 18. I will proceed to the next rebellion, Kitturu Rani Chennamma. She was best known for leading an armed rebellion against the British East India Company in 1824. This was 33 years before the 1857 War of Independence. The British were going to take control of Kitturu under the doctrine of lakhs because there was no male heir for this family. So Kitturu Rani Chennamma waged war against the British when the British tried to acquire Kitturu on the grounds of the doctrine of lakhs. Rani Chennamma questioned their authority to impose rules and regulations on Indian rulers. She defied the order of the British and continued to rule over Kitturu. She waged war on the British and defeated the English army. Thackeray, the chief of the army, was killed in the battlefield. The British attacked Kitturu in 1824 to avenge their defeat. Rani Chennamma fought bravely in the battlefield. The British overpowered Chennamma. She was kept as a prisoner in Bailahongala fort, where she died in the year 1829. Now the second revolt of Kittur is Sangolli Rayana. See the picture here showing. He was born in 1829 and 1798 to 1831. He was a prominent warrior from Karnataka, India. Rayana was born on 15th August 1798 in Kuruba community. Kuruba is a caste. He was the army chief of the kingdom of Kitturu, ruled at the time by Rani Chennamma, and fought the British East India Company till his death. Now Sangolli Rayana continued the struggle of Kitturu Rani Chennamma. He organized a band of fighters and started guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare means, in those days, the youngsters, they were forming, or rebellions, they were forming their group and they were going hiding in the forest either or mountain area or somewhere remote area, and they were without arms. Arms means they were not having money, so they were having their own strength and taking logs, hiding under the rock or climbing on the trees or hiding anyway hiding behind a tree, and then when the enemies will pass through that way, they were hiding. Suddenly they were pouncing and attacking the enemy and killing. And this type of warfare is called guerrilla warfare. So Sangolli Rayana, as he was economically backward, no money, so he adopted this guerrilla warfare and trained all his friends this guerrilla warfare. And he started guerrilla warfare against the British to free Kitturu from the hands of the British and install Shivlingappa, the adopted son of Chennamma, on the throne. He was captured by the British from his hideout and was hanged to death in public. Next comes a rebellion of Amarasuya. In 1837, the Kodagu Haleri, the rulers of Kodagu called Kodagu Haleri supporters, stormed into the Mangalore and captured it. There was no government nearly 1 week. Later, the British recaptured Mangalore area and hanged or jailed the leaders of this Coorg rebellions. And Amarasuya movement was the first movement against British rule. It was also known as Kalyanayakapa Katakai. Kalyanappa Katakai. That is the Tulu people name. In 1837 at Mangalore there was no government and British captured the whole Mangalore. Kodagu Haleri was the leader of Coorg rebellion. He supported the war. So British captured him and imprisoned him. Aparampara, Kalyanappa, Puttabasappa, Kedambadi, Ramegowda were the leaders of Amarasulya movement. Now, I will come to Puttabasappa. See, Puttabasappa is well known for agriculture that upholds the country's economy. The main cash crops include rice as well as coffee. It is rich in natural resources that support the country's economy, that help the economy to struggle for freedom. The role of Puttabasappa in the protest against British war: he organized the rebels and claimed down the people. He declared that tax on tobacco and salt will be withdrawn if the rebel government assumes power. The rich farmers, landowners and local chieftains were assured of this move. The capture of government office in Ballard was the first move in this rebellion. Puttabasappa killed an ambassador who was known for his brutality, means cruelty, further increased the popularity of Puttabasappa. And now next one, Surapura rebellion. Now here, Surapura also called sometimes as Sorapur in city and Taluka in Yadgir districts in the Indian state of Karnataka, and a historical place. Surapura was the land of the famous prince of Surapura, Asthana. Raja Venkatappa Nayaka, the young rebel freedom fighter against British rule. Now, Raja Venkatappa Nayaka, shown in the picture, see children, was a prominent and a last ruler of Nayak dynasty of Sorapur or Surapura. He refused to accept the sovereignty means power, of the British East India Company and waged a war against them. Surapura is in the present Yadgiri district, one of the 30 districts of Karnataka state in the southern India. And Surapura or Sorapur is located in the present Yadgiri district, which is one of the 30 districts in Karnataka state I explained. Here, Raja Venkatappa Nayaka was a prominent and a last ruler from Nayak dynasty of Sorapura. Raja Venkatappa Nayaka refused to accept sovereignty of the British East India Company, so he waged war against them. Venkatappa Nayaka, when he went against the British appointed Medes Taylor as his regent, means army chief. The British, suspicious about activities of Venkatappa Nayaka, attacked Surapura and captured him. Next, I will proceed to the Koppal rebellion. Here we are showing Koppal rebellion. The British gave away Koppal in Raichur districts to the Nizam of Hyderabad after the fall of Tippu. In 1819, Veerappa, here we are showing Veerappa picture, Karnataka, now he was torn, means partitioned under Nizam, Marathas and British after the death of Tipu Sultan. Okay, now Venkatappa of Koppal, he rebelled against the British to get back those places, and he wanted to reunite Mysore, and British attacked and recaptured Koppal, and then he was killed. Veerappa was killed. Now next I will proceed to the Halagali rebellion. The British passed Arms Act in 1857. Arms Act means no one should carry the arms except British citizens. Those days British citizens also were there in India. They are exempted, but all Indians, they should not take either log or pistol or dagger, any instrument they should not. With the bare hand only they should move. That is called Arms Act in 1857. According to this act, those who wish to possess arms had to obtain license from the government. Those who already possessed arms had to hand them over to the British. Most of the residents lived by hunting wild beasts and birds and selling forest products. Usually hunters, they will have bow and arrow. Got it? Now they were living near the forest, they were having their own land. So most of the residents lived by hunting wild beasts and birds and selling forest products. The hunters, then they are called Bedas in Karnataka, of Halagali in Mudon district, refused to surrender their arms as weapons formed an essential part of their livelihood. Definitely, no. Bow and arrow is their weapons to hunt, is it not? Is it right to capture those people and pass Arms Act to the Bedas? Wrong. Because they want to hunt, they will use definitely bow and arrow. These people did not want to lose the hereditary right to own arms. They revolted. Then what happened? The British government sent its army to suppress the revolt. British, who had a bigger army and better arms, modern arms and ammunition, won the fight. Leaders of the revolt were hanged to death. So like this, no, there was nobody was there, other people to question them, British, overrule. Now there will be one question regarding this. All two most questions there are Surapura Satyagraha, Halagali, Amarasulya and Koppal. All 2 marks question either or 1 mark question they will ask you. But mainly 4 mark question they are going to ask, very important, children. Explain the method adopted by Sangolli Rayana to fight British. So I'll tell you, Sangolli Rayana continued the struggle of Kitturu Rani Chennamma. He organized a band of fighters and started guerrilla warfare against the British to free Kitturu from the hands of the British. He inspired local people to join his army. He and his army used to move from place to place, burnt government offices, waylaid, attacked British troops and plundered treasuries. The British troops could not defeat him in open battle. So like this, I have concluded, I am concluding the 4th chapter of History, Opposition to British Rule in Karnataka. I hope all of you understood. Now, I'll ask you a few questions. How did Hyder Ali come to power? It is there in the textbook, you can copy and write. What are the effects of Second Anglo-Mysore War? In the examination, Mysore is our Karnataka, one of the part of Karnataka, and we should know about the Mysore Karnataka wars and all. Definitely one question they will ask you, either first, Anglo-Mysore War or Second Anglo-Mysore War or Third Anglo-Mysore War or Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Any one they will ask you either for 2 marks or 3 marks. So you should be thorough in that. Any one they will ask you, you can gain marks. Third question, explain the method of resisting British power by Dondiya. See, these people are patriots. Dondiya, Puttapasappa, Halagali, all Bedas. So they sacrificed their life. They fought against